from Bipolar UK coming to say a few words on behalf of Natasha and of course the charity itself, Simon Kitchen.
Thank you so much. It's really hard to come up here after some really amazing speakers. When Natasha got in touch with me and said that she was running this event, I was really excited. As someone who used to watch Waterloo Road as well, who thought she's one of the kind of great actresses, and I know that my mum will be really pleased that I was able to make it here today to support her. Bipolar UK has been going for about 35 years. We're a charity that was created by people affected by bipolar, for people affected by bipolar. And we really kept that ethos going over those years. So about half of our staff and half of our trustees either living with bipolar or they have a close family member with bipolar. And we have over 200 volunteers who are themselves also living with bipolar. And what they do is they run across the country support groups. They also run we have an e-community, and we do a telephone and email callback service, which has always been, if someone wants advice or support, they can call up and send us an email, and someone with bipolar or someone of a close family member will respond. And this element of peer support is so incredibly important, especially around mental health. As Tasha said, one of the things that was really difficult was around the diagnosis and those diagnoses changing. And certainly around mental health, there's a lot of mystery around mental health. It's not like you can get a blood test that can tell you whether you've got one condition or another. But what they know is there's certain symptoms that people have, certain medication that can help people manage those symptoms. And there's also things that people can do in their daily lives to be able to manage those symptoms and to be able to lead really happy, successful and fulfilling lives. And what we do as a charity is really similar to all the conversations that we've had here today, which is that everyone needs to find the right approach to self-management for them. Lots of different combinations of drugs that work for different people. It's not like one drug, if it's not working for you, means giving up on it. There's other ones out there that you can try, different dosages, but also being able to find about those things that aren't about the medicine. So the stuff we were talking about earlier about music, the activities people can do, the stuff around powerlifting. Everyone can find their right approach to self-management, and that's what we do as a charity. So we reach out to about 2,000 people every month, which we're really proud to. And when we talk to them, they tell us that about 1,000 of them said that we play a really important role in helping them stay well every month. And that's people who are having fewer suicidal thoughts, people who are not in hospital, people who are able to lead really happy and successful lives. I think Tasha's really shown today what, if you're really proactive about self-management, what you can achieve in all these different areas in life. And I know out there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of people with bipolar like Tasha who are doing really amazing things, and it's about getting those stories out there to do it. So I want to finish by saying a massive thank you to everyone here. Thank you. I understand you've already raised over £200.
It's about 240 up to
240. Now. I think we can get up to 300 quid, so round of applause to everyone here. If we're going towards we've got a group in Manchester, we've got lots of them across the north. I'm from Newcastle originally, so I can tell you that the north is always going to beat the south.
Hey!
And every day, so even though I do live in London, but I hope you're going to try and change that. So we've got a little helper here, Karishma, Santa's little helper, is going around. She'll be helping us collect some money. So if you do want to make a donation, one of the donations will go to help our support group. So thank you so much, and I hope you really have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.
Yeah. Please dig deep. Any change, any notes that you do have, I'm sure you can. Can you, Simon? Can you donate online as well in case anyone has any changes?
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. Is there a specific address or anything?
I have to read this every time. It's bipolaruk.org, and you can donate online. You can also get lots of different advice about self-management, and if you want to connect with other people with bipolar who are going through similar things, we've got our local support group, so you can find all of it on our website.
You're doing something this year in the north about suicide, you were saying to me as well, wasn't you?
Yeah,
so just say a bit about that.
Thanks Tasha, this is great. So we're doing a bipolar commission this year, which is some of the things that we talked about earlier, about the lack of support people get if they're living with bipolar. So it can take up to 9 years, sometimes a lot longer, to get a diagnosis. So all the things that we talked about, the suicidal thinking, the mania, people going through that, they're not even knowing that they've got bipolar. So we wanted to find out ways that people can actually get a diagnosis sooner. Also going to be looking at how we can improve hospital care. A lot of people go into hospital and they have really horrendous experiences. Places that should be places of care and of recovery and of healing can end up making people more poorly. So we want to make sure that we can improve the hospital care, and also about making sure people get on the right medication. We know that about 1 in 3 people, if they're taking lithium and they've got bipolar, are absolutely fine, and another third can have a really good response to it. But only about 1 in 20 people with bipolar actually take lithium. So doing something as simple as that can have a really powerful impact. So if you want to get involved, if you're living with bipolar, come onto the website and we'd love to hear from you. So
Thank you. Now it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the stage. Please put your hands together for the lady of the moment. This today wouldn't have happened without her. Please give it up for the beautiful, the talented Miss Natasha Rea.
He edited this bit out of my book, I have to put it back here.
I need to change that. Is that alright for you? Can you just give us a bit of a, let's say your dulcet tones.
Hello?
There you go.
Hello?
With an A-double-S. Natasha!
I don't want me, I'm trying to look sophisticated.
You do. You're beautiful. Natasha, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Natasha. Thank you so much for inviting me here today to do this with you, and thank you for everyone on behalf of everyone else as well, because this has been a very specific, a very, would you say difficult, challenging journey for you since you put pen to paper in your journals and then decided to turn it into a book. How long has that process been? Tell us about when you first came up with the idea to kind of where you are now.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah. You don't need a microphone.
Don't need a
You
mic,
don't
do
even
I?
listen to Kelly on this, you know.
Do you know what? It's a really funny story, this. So me and Joe Swabesh over there, who did my proofreading, bless her. We goes to Joshua Brooks, and this guy sat at the bar, and he said, let me read your palm. Oh, here we go. So he went, you're going to write a book, Hugh. I went, oh, all right, mate, yeah. So I turned around to Joe and went, what book? I'm not going to swear. What book would I write, Joe? Me, myself, and Bipolar Brenda. And that was just a bit of a joke. And then I just thought to myself, she's a bit like Bipolar Brenda, actually, because she's different to me. And I just found writing really helped me, because so much stuff goes on in my head. And I feel like when I write, it comes out of me, a bit like when I act. I never realised when David said to me when I was younger, you know, you're very energetic and you're very emotional and it's excellent, but you're just not controlled with it. There's no control. And
Sorry, Dave.
sorry, Dave.
I'm used to that.
And yeah, and I just think writing was what helped me. And then I thought to myself, I need to share this. Like, because I'm sick of people calling me a crank and a weirdo and a this and a that. And I thought, sorry, I know you don't like me using
I
that.
don't like you using that.
Sorry. It's dead funny now because I love the word because of him. And I just thought to myself, sod it. I'm going to put it in a book. And I rang you, didn't I? I went, right, I've decided I'm going to write a book, Tom. And he went, who's decided you are your alter ego? I went, bit of both. But it was, I think it was an idea at first. And then, you know, when you kind of keep going with it, you think, bit enough more that can chew it, what am I doing?
So how long was the process? How long did it take?
About a year when I rang you and said that. About a year, yeah. But the journals was piled high. And some of them, when you're reading back, are like, oh, I didn't do that.
You talk about like looking back, and you know when you're putting pen to paper, especially when it's autobiographical, you're obviously having to soul search and dig deep. How deep did you dig?
It was horrific. It was horrific sometimes. I mean, obviously having mental health is difficult anyway. And, you know, if you do read the book, you know, I'm very honest, in 2019, it was the worst year of my life mentally. you know, I've always managed it as people, if people know me, I've managed it through diet, meditation, creativity, whether that's, you know, getting up. You helped me loads last year, you know, got me back on stage, and I didn't think I could get back on stage. I didn't have any confidence. So creativity for me is like, you know, go and express these feelings. But it was horrific at some points. I remember 17 hours was with Joe one day, and I wrote a part out, and I just, some bits of it was so painful because I was still going through it. It just, sod's law, me, would decide to write a book when you're already dealing with issues. So it's like, I probably should have done it when I'm 40 and look back and be like, yeah, I've dealt with all that, and, you know, I'm in a great place. But I wasn't. I was in a horrific place. But that book's changed me massively. Massively.
Now, you talk about being in a bad place. You talk about struggling with your diagnosis when you were writing. Would you say writing the book was slightly cathartic? Did it help you?
Don't know what that word means.
I know you don't. That's why I just said, does it help you?
You've done that on purpose, didn't you?
Yeah. Did it help you? Did it sort your head out?
Did it sort my head out? I feel like I've took my power back now, because a lot of people use my illness against me. Do you know what I mean? Oh, she's just, don't listen to her, she's bipolar, she's psychotic, she's this, she's that. No, actually, I'm a human being. That's what I am.
In the book, what was the most difficult, the most challenging part for you to write?
All the male men that have been bad for me.
Yeah, so we've read the book, we've got
narcissistic men.
Yeah, Jerome and Jamie, obviously aliases. Yeah, aliases.
And who are even they, darling? Who are they anymore?
Do these gentlemen know that you've been writing about them? Did they give you your blessing?
Probably friends to sue me, aren't they? But, you know, speak to my agent.
And also, obviously, you've dedicated the book to your son. He's 9 years old now? You're 9 now? 8, sorry, I'm giving you a year there. Lucia.
This is the most amazing human being you'll ever meet.
Lucia, what was it like when your mum was writing the book? Did you help her out? Did you help her with the spelling? Did you kind of remind her of things that she had?
No, I can't smell at all.
Okay.
What did you say to me the other week when everything was going to pot?
Never give up. Just never give up.
Now, Natasha, when we were outside before having a cheeky cigarette before, you said to me on the way up, you said, I'm so glad today is here because this is the first time in my life I've ever put my mind to something and actually followed it through. Do you feel like that?
Now I do, being here. I didn't expect all these people and that, you know. I do follow. Do you know what I did learn actually going through the book? The amount of times I have seen things through, but I've not gone on to pursue them. So, like, say for instance, I'll start to have a really good run with my acting, and I'll be like, oh, like I did Corrie, and then after Corrie, really, I was in a position then to maybe push to do something else. And with the powerlifting, you know, I won my first ever powerlifting competition. I beat a world champion at my first comp. Who does that? Do you know what I mean? But then when it comes to then stepping up to go and do the British, and my trainer going, oh, you've got the potential to go on to the world, then I was like, oh, no, because I might get ill. And then I stepped back. And with this, I've been ill. I was in hospital in December, you know, sat next to whoever she was telling, I need to get out, Jesus needs me. And I was like, you need to put me on home watch. I'm all right in my own bed, honestly. He was like, I've not got the bed, so when it's fine, just let me go home. But I've not, it's been hard this. I'm not going to sit here and say, I've never wrote, I can't spell. What was it you said about me spelling?
it's unique.
What did you say about the words? Like I spell a word that means something else.
Yeah, when there's two words with the same meaning, you pretty much every time get the wrong one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom.
Do you know what I mean? So it's been really difficult. And there was bits I didn't want to expose.
Why did you not want to expose them? If you're putting a warts and all into this book, if you're putting it onto paper, what was it that stopped you from?
Because I thought some
being
people
so
would think,
truthful?
oh, it's boring this. Like, it's the same thing that happens again. She's doing the same thing. She's going back to the same man. The same thing's happening. Or, oh, she's got really intense. She's on a spiritual path now. Oh, no, she's not. She's back out. She's back out dancing around Manchester thinking she's Kim Kardashian. Do you know what I mean? So I got tired reading it. I was like, God, like, how do I live like this?
I try editing it over 25 hours. No, it's a beautiful book. We talked before about, kind of like it being a challenge and the struggles and the things that you put in it and stuff, kind of go into that place. Was there happy moments when you were writing? Were there moments where you read it back and you kind of had a laugh and you remembered stuff?
We've had some right laughs. Me and Joe, haven't we, when we were reading it back? We had some right laughs. With, certain things. Like, some of the people have dealt with at the hospital, like, Jesus, tonight, We'll read it in a minute, won't we? We've picked a chapter to read, but some of it's really funny. The bits with my bladder, when they had this thing wrong with my bladder, and I was convinced that the doctors were lying to me. I needed my bladder removing, and they kept saying, it's in your head. And I said, well, yeah, because your lady garden affects your head, doesn't it? Yeah, it's all in my head. There's loads of things that you laugh about, and you can laugh about when it's the coral thing. I mean, the coral thing is a major thing that sticks out for me. It's one of the things where I thought,
you got an obsession with buying any item of clothing that was coral pink.
Coral, basically. I went into Primark, and as you know, you can get a lot for 200 quid in Primark. And I come out with 6 bags, and everything was coral knickers, coral socks, coral tops.
You look like a SpongeBob SquarePants. What's it called? The crab.
Yeah.
Is he chubby?
He's coral.
Is he
He's
chubby?
coral. No, he's not chubby. He's coral.
Is he hench?
No, he's fit. What was I going to say to you? So, with the book as well, I mean, did you ever imagine yourself to be a writer? Did you ever imagine yourself
I'm not a
to be sat
writer.
here? Well, you are a writer. I mean, this, we've got a hard copy in our hand, I mean, people, if you think about nostalgia, people read Kindles nowadays, but to have that in your hand, the smell of it, there's an obsession with books, and, you are now an author. If you think about it that way, you're actually a author. From dancing on the podiums at Park Life to Waterstones in
Park Life to Park House.
Exactly. What does it feel like? What I'm trying to say to you is, what does it feel like from a girl from North Manchester who has struggled against the odds consistently for the majority of her life to now be known, to now have that in your hand? How does that feel?
A bit scary, really. People might not talk to me again. Might not. So, you know what's really interesting? An actress, I'm obviously not going to name any names, but she contacted me and she said, oh my God, what does your agent think about you doing this book? I'm like, I'd be terrified you won't get employed. I went, well, that's who I am. Do you know what I mean?
And I remember the acting is all about truth, isn't it?
I think you have to be truthful about who you are, because if you're not, then you're going to be more sad than what you already are. I really believe that. And you said to me once, David, I can't remember what we was doing, and I said to him, I went, do you know what? Because they're all my group, they were all in Shameless, all in Waterloo Road, and they all went on to do well, and I was kind of like the one lagging behind. Do you know what I mean? And I remember saying to David, I went, do you know what? I think it was only about 14, 15. I said, I'd rather it take me another 15, 16 years to get where I want to be, being who I am, than pretending to be something that I'm not. And I believe that, because I just think so many people are, and I'm guilty of it, do you know what I mean? You'll hide behind, a 3-piece wig, you'll hide behind, this isn't me hair. Got a bit of enhancement. be truthful about who you
Absolutely.
are. What, you're not going to employ me because there's something wrong with my head?
Yeah.
That,
Well,
you know,
it
if you
makes
don't
you
want to
interested,
employ
it
me,
makes
don't.
you dangerous, doesn't it?
Dangerous,
You know,
yeah. I
that's
think,
what people want.
you know, talking from a professional point of view, I mean, we've got obviously people in here today that have worked with me over the years professionally, and I would like to think that I've always carried myself well, even with this condition. David might be sat there thinking, yeah.
Do you want to? Should we have a read of the book? Should we listen to a few words? The chapter that Natasha has chosen to read out for you today is one entitled "All Shits and Giggles Until Somebody Giggles and Shits." Luciano, put your hands over your ears if I hear. There you go, Natasha.
Right, go and sit down. A year in which I had more trips to A&E than I've had nights out. When they just start handing you an ECG card as soon as you get to A&E reception, you know life is pretty beep. Becoming a monthly thing this, me thinking I'm dying. Hitting 30 has not been all shits and giggles. To be honest, it's been a hell of a lot more shits. Because the physical anxiety I've had this year doesn't care if you stood in Tesco's bread aisle and your stomach goes to literally shit, as you convince yourself you're either going to die or just have a heart attack. Shitting yourself seems a less painful option, really. It does absolutely nothing for your image, though. I do that a lot, you know. I make jokes about myself and my illness to try and cover up how I'm really feeling, i.e. scared to really, you know, bare my soul to you and come across even more nuts than I already am. If I tell you I'm damaged, will you still love me or leave me? That kind of thing, I suppose. Kinel, Tasha, you're not writing a love song. Ease off on the quotes, that copyright stuff's a minefield. Anyway, back to shitting myself. No. Seriously though, all jokes aside, anxiety isn't funny at all. It really isn't. I've never written a book before, and I doubt I ever will again. So I may as well say what I want and get as much as I can out. I've changed my mind a million times about the layout. I didn't want people to get confused reading it. Didn't want to jump from one thing to another, then back to something else. However, for you to read this, it's only fair that it's delivered to you the way that my mind and my emotions are. I'm not being lazy, but if I sat down with a beginning, middle and end, with the perfect extracts from my journals at the right chapters, I wouldn't be being truthful with you and how I am. It's really hard for me because I've had to also come to terms with a few things while doing this. Admitting things that are embarrassing and painful. This year I've been taken out of my comfort zone so much, and I had, see I'm getting stressed now because I need to open up and it's making me feel uncomfortable. I've never felt so lost, abandoned and scared as I have this year. There, I've said it. 2019, it ripped my soul out, crushed me out and gave me an anxiety disorder to add to the bipolar. Dirty 30, you say? Definitely not that kind of dirty 30 anyway. Oh well. If you would have told me this time last year that I would have been stood in Tesco's pharmacy demanding an emergency supply of anxiety tablets, I would have outright told you to get on your bike and felt like an addict begging for the next fix. I was shouting, I need those tablets. If I don't get them, I'll be back in hospital thinking I'm dying, then back to mental health and probably sectioned. In which the pharmacist replied, they can't section you without your permission. I yelled at her, are you having a fucking laugh? Don't try and tell me about the mental health system. All I want is emergency supply and I'll go. She was point blank refusing, in which resulted in me calling her, I won't say that word, stomping off down the booze aisle and opting for a bottle of Pearson instead. I mean, can you imagine? Saturday afternoon and I'm there causing World War III with some gobsmacked trainee girl because she won't give me a cheeky dosage of a 10mg anxiety tablet. Funny really, when they want to throw all sorts of tablets for you when you've got bipolar. I don't mean to lose my temper, but sometimes I just think, what fucking shit show. I'm already mentally unstable and I'm dealing with absolute... Like the woman in A&E. I mean, I'm not posh in the slightest by any means. And as an actress, most of my roles have been set in bloody prisons or as trouble-causing bad girls from the gutter. Not that I'm playing to type or anything, honestly. But trust me when I say she was rough, I mean rough. I don't know what this means, this what you put here. A face like a one-eyed pug licking a piss of thistle.
No, a face like a one-eyed pug licking piss off a thistle.
Oh, right. What happens when you hand your book over to an editor? I had been taken in by ambulance. I'd taken too many anxiety tablets and I'd had Valium for the first time, which it didn't stop my anxiety, just made me feel more like I was dying, made me piss my knickers and lose all feelings in my legs. And they're giving it, just breathe. Just fucking breathe. I breathe through my arsehole right now if it'd help. I yelled telling me, just breathe. You telling me just to breathe isn't helping me breathe, is it? Then she waddled over to me, stinking of garlic. I was like, I can't walk. I was shaking and I couldn't move. I tell you something and all, A&E on a Saturday night is not the one, especially with Tubby Sandra rushing you into a side room to give you an ECG. I hold my hand over my mouth and my nose and she shouts in a loud mank accent, are you gonna be sick? Because I'm off shift in half an hour and I'm not cleaning this sick up. I'm fine, I replied, whilst in my head convincing me I couldn't breathe as it is, and this French breath stench is making me feel like I'm about to pass out. She takes my blood, drenching me of course, all over my brand new Victoria's Secret tracksuit. She then said to me, your ECG's fine. Turns to me and tells me, your heart's fine. Says here you're bipolar. It's probably that. Did you know you're bipolar? No, I didn't know I was mentally ill. Thanks for that, Sandra. Sandra then plonks me out in the waiting room of hell and goes off to eat her hobnobs. Have you ever been to North Manchester A&E on a Saturday night? No, well let me tell you don't want to. Especially during a massive anxiety attack. Cut to the Polish man screaming, the scally with the broken leg jumping up best he can. Outside now, I'll have you. Can you imagine? I've gone in with an anxiety attack. I've almost overdosed on Valium and I'm sat in this. I hid in the side room. I went to the main desk. Excuse me, I've got bipolar. I've been brought with anxiety. It's all kicking off out there. She simply turned to me and went, take a seat, love. It's always like that in here. Great. I'll remember that for TripAdvisor. I wish I could say that was the last time that I ended up in that hole, but my attacks this year have been off the scale. I guess the best place to start the beginning of my journey with you. To share my life from the secrets of my own personal journals, all the way to relationships, friendships, suicide attempts, daddy issues, motherhood, and a great dollop of mental health issues, stigma, achievements, right and wrong, and everything else I fancy in between. Along the way, you'll meet the likes of Manic Manda, Anxiety Anna, OCD Doris, Depressed Debbie, Harley Quinn, and Emily Rose, and obviously me, Bipolar Brenda. Can't read that word, Anne.
Which one?
Nice one here.
Ubiquitous.
I mean, come on. Hey.
Everywhere.
Could you imagine me writing that? I can't even say it. What is it?
Ubiquitous. Everywhere.
Ubiquitous.
Like shit in a field.
Oh, right. Bipolar Brenda. And of course, Natasha. That's me. Join me as I let go of the last decade, get to grips with myself and reach that point where I can stand tall and state that I'm truly proud of myself, sides and all. To get the bloody kettle on, best make it a builder's brew. It's going to be one hell of a ride, our kid.
We're thinking film rights, Chris Green. We're thinking film rights, sir. Natasha, obviously, you know, the name of the book is Me, Myself, and Bipolar Brenda. We've got the guys here from Bipolar UK tonight who are going to share some words with us as well. In regards to your diagnosis, where are you at right now? Is that the right thing to say? Have you just had some of your vape as well?
What? I need it.
Okay, go on. Where are you right now?
Well, the latest diagnosis was that you're not bipolar, you're actually borderline personality disorder. So that was another thing I think that kind of made me, when I was in hospital in December, if you read the book, I had a really bad psychotic episode, which wasn't pleasant for anybody involved. And, you know, it took years for me to get diagnosed with bipolar. I had a working diagnosis for years, from, was it 14 months? 11. And it went on for years, but they wanted to put me on meds, and I had one experience on medication. I thought, no, this is not for me. There must be a different route. And that's when I was like, I walked into the Buddy Centre in Manchester, told this poor receptionist guy my life story. for him to then tell me that it was just a volunteer. And you know, the spiritual path kind of helped me a lot, and training's helped me. You know, powerlifting has got me out of some bad situations. But this episode, I mean, me and the mental health system don't get on. You know, and that's actually one of the things a BP do. They don't get on with psychologists, so I tick that box, didn't I? So yeah, this new diagnosis that they give me alongside obviously the bipolar, there's me doing my gritty BAFTA. BPD's got a horrific stigma attached to it. So I come home in a real low, then having to relook at myself again. But then I thought, actually, no, it's just another label to the emotions and the feelings that I've dealt with from being 11 years old. It's not your label, it's who you are. And I have to quickly get that into my head. But it's an ongoing battle, you know what I mean? It is what it is.
Do you think you've made friends, metaphorically speaking, with your BPD? Do you think you and your BPD have found a happy medium?
I think when I don't have, you know, we've had the conversation before about people, places and things. I think you have to be really conscious of the people, places and things around you because it can trigger you off. It really, really can, and it has me for many years. You know,
Do you see yourself on a turn now? Do you see yourself kind of championing, you know, the future rather than
it's me,
dreading
isn't it? So you don't know, I could be here and then next week I could be on the bones of my ass again. You just don't know, do you? But I definitely feel like I've grown more than what, I'm not the same girl I was 12 months ago. I'm not going into mental health demanding like, listen, you listen to me. You know, I'm not, I'm working with them and I'm saying, you know, and let's do things properly, and I'm working more with the charities now, and I want to get people speaking, I want to get people doing, this is why I've got the guys that I've got today, you know, doing conscious raves. You still got your house music and stuff, but you're going and you're around good energy, and I think it helps. Yeah, I think it really does. I really do.
So finally, where can we get the book? Where can we get our hands on this tome?
Well, if you visit my website, I get more hits. Apparently, Steve Whitfield said. I'm not the most technical person, but it is obviously it's on Amazon. I've got a few copies today. But I am limited because I just didn't realise this many people, a bit overwhelmed. Thought I'd be sat here with like about 5 people, so Lawrence looked at me, my event manager, like, Tash, there's not 6. I'm real sorry, Lawrence.
Finally, if you've got one thing to say about what you're going to be doing after this, you know, what next? What happens next? What will you be doing?
Gonna get it onto TV. Aim is as well, and I haven't got the powers to do it, but I think, you know what, when you've got the mind to do it, I want to give people opportunities that don't get opportunities, talented people. And you know what, Stephen Graham's just opened up a production company for people that, you know, don't get the notice that they should. And I know it's difficult, and I know it's a dog eat dog industry, and it's a money industry and stuff, but you know, there's people out there that are so creative, so talented, that are not being seen. And I think if they're given the right story and you're given the right platform, I believe drama is about changing people's lives and leaving a message and an impact. Do you know what I mean? Like 3 girls, for example, they left an impact. All them girls were unknown. Why we should have more stuff like that, you know, that's gonna open up people, make people talk, do you know what I mean? I think there should be, you know, like these loose women, I think there should be a thing on, you know, telly where you've got a half an hour slot where normal people, not just celebrities, are coming on talking about, you know, I've gone out and have done this on the weekend and now I'm depressed and my life's over. But normal working class people coming on, talking about their experiences with mental health. And, you know, imagine being able to turn the TV on and being able to know that you've got a half an hour slot where you can listen and relate to people on a Tuesday afternoon or whatever. I think I just want to be a voice for people that feel like they can't use there, and I want to be able to use, the best way I know how to do that is by being creative, and that's what I'm going to do with it. And I'm Northern and I'm proud, and you know, I think the North has fell behind a bit recently, and it seems shameless. And I think we need to bring it back.
No, we have not.
Oh, here she is.
Yes, here I am. No, we have not. The summoners fell right behind.
But I just want to use it as, and I want to get more behind the charities, and I want to get the awareness, not just the awareness about people posting about it, talking about people doing things, more events like this where people can come together, and as one person stands up, then the next person, the amount of people I've had message me and go, I've been, psychotic for years and I've never told anybody, and you've made me feel like I can step out now.
And that's the beauty of
and that's
communication,
it.
isn't
That's it. That's what the message is. Do you know what I mean? Talk, not to even talk, but let's just stand up and be like, yeah, this is what's wrong with me. How are we going to work? Let's work on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Has anyone got any questions for Natasha? Anybody want to ask anything that I've not asked myself? Lady there in the beret.
So, thinking about your experience in the mental health system,
Yeah.
what were the things that need to change? What particularly has been consistently bad for you in terms of supporting you?
I mean, it's really difficult because obviously I don't blame the NHS, because I think the NHS are fantastic. I must say that. And they're only doing what they have the affordability to do. The problem I've always experienced is as sad as it sounds, unless you're on the verge of literally killing yourself, there isn't the support, and I'm not blaming the NHS. I don't know who's in Parliament now. I'm not into politics, so I'm not going to sit here. We could be Tony Blair for all I know.
Praise the Lord.
But I just think if they don't have the resources. I was really ill at Christmas, but they didn't have the beds. They sent me home, and then 24 hours after, I went back into that psychotic episode again. I was terrified of my mind. My cousin had to rush me back into hospital. So it's only in emergency cases, do you know what I mean? Another thing that I'm finding at the minute is the way that they are just giving labels out very willy-nilly. I don't think you should have one opinion off an hour's conversation. I think you should always go and get a second opinion. And I think you should do your utmost in looking into your medication. I always think if you need medication, obviously go on medication. I have to have anxiety medication now, but I just think it's look into it and look, and unfortunately, if you are suffering, and most of my team here today all suffer, which we all do, but I think it's a money thing, isn't it? So I'm not blaming the NHS, but I just think if more of us can come together and do more stuff like this, then it gives people something to aim for. Somebody else might stand up next week who's in a really bad place and start writing a story. Do you know what I mean? And from that, they've got out of that dark place.
Any more questions? Anyone else?
You've done a dead good job, Anne, because no one wants to ask me nothing.
It's going to your last one.
Go on,
Nice,
Shiv.
You've got loads to offer, and writing a book, it's fabulous what you've done. I remember when you said to me you was doing one, and to see it here today, it's massive what you've done. You've got a platform already, social media. It's a social media society, and what you're talking about today, you need to start switching on like a Facebook Live or something, because you're willing to speak out massively, and not many girls and lads do that today. There's a lot of bullshit, I'm sorry for swearing.
No, you're alright,
there's a lot of shite out there that people
No,
are
there is.
portraying the best lives ever, and for people like us that do suffer with mental health, it affects us massively. But when the likes of our type go on and say it's not all pretty, it's not all rainbows and unicorns for a lot of us, I think that would be a massive platform for you, a Facebook Live. I think you do really well from that, and it would help a lot of people. A lot of people would share that out, so just throwing it out there.
Thank you so much. Final shout out. Any more questions for Natasha? Yes.
Are you going to do an audio book?
Everyone keeps asking me that. God, I don't know. Just about got it on Amazon. That was hard enough. God, would you want to listen to me for 4 hours? I might go back to elocution first. I'd like to do an audio book. My next step is I've got a YouTube channel, me, myself and Bipolar Brenda. and I'd quite like to start getting people on. Matt don't know about this yet. I mentioned it briefly to him before after he's spent his first full week with me, and he's probably going to go home and rock in a corner tonight. I'd like to get a YouTube channel up and running, and I'd like to get everyday people coming on it and sharing their experiences, and talking about the different experiences, stuff that goes on in the head, you know, weird thoughts, like, you know, I had a conversation with somebody the other day. I was like, I've not been able to find a safety pin for it before day. Like, and other people would be like, it's like yesterday I said to my friend, she's at the back there, it's Little People London, and I was like, my eye's really sore. She went, right, okay. I went, no, it's severely sore. I'm going to have my eye out, Lauren. It's going to be my eye. I'm going to have to take my eye out. But people, you don't, if you talk to just somebody normal about that, they just, a lot, you know, my ex used to go, you're not well, you. And I just used to think, well, actually, you're normal, so I think you're unwell.
Yeah.
So I just want a platform where people can come in and go, I think like that, or I do that. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's what I want. I think not to feel alone, because it can be this can be lonely. It can be your worst nightmare, but it can be the best thing. But you've got to, and I think, you know, I want to help people because I just think it was horrific for me at Christmas. He's my world. That little boy's don't upset. Sorry. I didn't want to cry. Sorry.
Here, do you want my bit of tissue?
Thanks.
I got snot on it.
I
have to nick it off your mum anyway. Share.
Sorry. There you are, Viking. He's kept me up.
Can I just say
And he's
something,
kept me going.
Natasha? While you just composing yourself, can I just say something? That's something that really resonated with me. If you're a parent with mental health issues, there is a huge stigma in this country. There are so many parents who are struggling who will not go to see the GP, will not get help because they are terrified if they are truthful about the struggle, they will lose the children. And that needs to change. That absolutely needs to change. And you
I said to Tom the other week, I said, you know my story with this, and I said it to you, didn't I, when you had my journals and stuff. And I think you expressed it amazingly. You know, this guy here, what a legend, literally got my script. I mean, I feel sorry for Tom sat over there, he got bits of papers just emailed to him. They both did. And he put it into a script. But you know what? He demonstrated my relationship with him where I'm up and down, you know, and I don't have that routine. And you do carry a lot of guilt with this illness because I don't have a routine for him. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't, but you know what? He's the most, and I'm not just saying it, he does get in with the Lego and all that. But this boy has the most patience with me in the world, and he's kept me going, and I just think, you'll read it in the book, like I went in on them teachers, let me tell you. And then it was only this year where I thought, but writing the book, actually I'm just going to be honest with them. And now I'm getting help now. He's going on like retreats and stuff like that. I'm getting the support, but at first I was terrified because I thought they're going to take him away from me. And he's my world. You know, and you are Mama.
And you want to
I'm my one-eyed.
You want to hope as well. I think for me, when reading and editing the book, I think the stuff that you wrote about Lucci and you know about being at school was hilarious as well. But that broke me to an extent because what you did in that chapter was you admitted that you're not perfect, you weren't the best mum in the world, but what you did have was but what you did have was love, and what you did have was a passion to just do all that you could for Lucci. I think that's one of the best bits in the book.
I want to show him that he can, because my mum always used to say to me, she was like, you know, being 14 and you know, being up for roles and you're not getting them, rejection was difficult for me, and I want to show him like it doesn't matter how many times you get rejected, how many no's you get. Do you know what I mean? Go and make your own magic. If they don't want to take you and they don't want to, it's like Shameless didn't want to take me when I was 15, but I'm stood up here now and I've done this. And do you know what? I'd rather do this than have done that when I was 14 because I've got more out of it and he's got something now that he can build on. Hopefully, anyway.
Absolutely, 100%. Before we move on to the next part of the
I'm sorry, Miss Snotting and all
it's
that.
alright. A couple of your friends, a couple of your best friends have got a little surprise for you. You knew nothing about.
Oh, you're kidding me, not another
so-
one. He had me over on Friday night.
Lauren and
He better not be a midget stripper. He had me on Friday, I didn't have a clue.
5 minutes, yeah. You're gonna go get it fluffed up.
Oh, you'll be You can't do children presents.
It's not a stripper, Natasha.
You told me I can't swear and then you're going to bring a midget
It's
stripper.
not a midget stripper.
I don't think it'll fit yourself.
Go on,
Yeah,
Dean.
question.
What do you prescribe for medication, heart medication?
What would you just
Depends what phase you're in. If you're in a low or you're in a
So-
high. No.
non-pharmaceutical, non-drugs? What would you prescribe? What's the best medicine for you and for everyone else?
Powerlifting was amazing for me. Lifting weights because, I mean, my trainer's not here today. He couldn't be here today, Anthony, but he, powerlifting, like, well, you're lifting 120 kilo off the floor. Those voices and whatever's going on in your head, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking, I've got 120 kilo here in my hand. I'm either going to die or it's going to go up. Powerlifting really, really seemed to balance me out a lot. Books, fell in love with books. Reiki, I've got my Reiki master here today. So there, what did you say yesterday, Stella? I wanted to ask about the swan, and you said you probably won't remember. I wanted to ask you what you said. About them things that chirp, 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 and then you said about being a swan. What?
Happy birthday.
Oh, not again.